Hey Grauwelt fans, it's me again, Vic Salinas. Today I wanted to do a video that's a little different than what I normally do. Today I wanted to share something a little personal interest of mine, and that is role-playing games. Any of you that have been following me for a period of time know that I'm a big fan of tabletop role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons and Star Wars and all those. I recently picked up a new role-playing game. I got a couple of books for it. This is the core rule book here. It's called the One Ring. And as you can probably guess, it's based on Middle-earth. The setting kind of pushes you towards the time period between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, like that, I want to say 40 or 50 years in between those two books there, between The Fellowship of the Ring and The Hobbit. Before I talk about the particulars about what I like about this game, specifically The One Ring, I want to share kind of my philosophy on why I think role-playing games are really important. They've been very important in my life. I've played role-playing games since I was 9 years old. I started playing AD&D, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. My dad introduced my sister and I to it, and we played that pretty heavily. What was that, like second grade, third grade, that I started playing. And my dad kind of created a monster in a way after introducing me to Dungeons & Dragons. And a couple years later, more of my friends started playing. I introduced them to it through my dad and my sister and I playing. And as I got older and a little bit more sophisticated, my dad got busier and busier and couldn't be our dungeon master anymore. So the mantle kind of fell on me. He passed the torch on to me, and then I started being the dungeon master for our group. And there were about 4 or 6 of us that played different games on and off throughout the years. And it became something that I did almost religiously, like every weekend, spring break, holiday break, certainly summer vacation. My friends and I would always get together and play various role-playing games. A single campaign would last us, 6 to 12 months. And the reason that I've always been so drawn to it, and the reason that I find it so much fun, and really think that if you don't play it, you should, is that it's such a great way to practice your creative skills, because I don't really know of too many other things other than tabletop role-playing games and other types of tabletop games that can really spark your imagination in that sort of way, on that level. Unlike with video games, video games are much more passive in that the designers have already created the world for you. You just kind of act as an agent within the parameters that the creators have given you. And sure, video games are fun, and I like video games every now and then. But I've never been drawn to video games in the same way that I have tabletop games, because in tabletop games, everything has to happen in the imagination of the participants. And to me, it's kind of artful and, in a way, poetic that the entire game exists only in the imagination of those who participate. So it's really incredible to think that an entire world is created from the ground up in the imaginations of the people who play it. It's really something kind of magical that this private universe exists for just a small group of people who get to participate in it. And there's nothing, I think, that serves as a better creative exercise than creating a world, creating its characters, its events, going on new adventures, and then also having to be put on the fly for things. If any of you have played role-playing games, either certainly as the game master or dungeon master, or in this game, the lore master, who creates a setting, or as one of the participant characters, that every single scene, every single turn, you have to come up with something entirely new. You have to create parts of your character's backstory that you hadn't thought of. You have to come up with how your character would react to different events and what they say and what they think. And it's that kind of improvisation that hones your creative skills. It's like a whetstone that kind of sharpens your creative capabilities. And if it were not for role-playing games, if it were not for me getting into Dungeons & Dragons and later games like Shadowrun and Star Wars and a few others, I don't think that I would have ever gotten an interest in writing. I don't think I ever would have gotten an interest in being a creative person. At the age of 9, it just kind of sparked something inside of me that made me want to create something like that, to create a universe as vast and as interesting that could be role-played. So that's kind of my brief as to why I think role-playing games are very important. If you don't already play role-playing games, I would definitely suggest that you do so. And even if you do, there's no better game, I think, out there right now than the One Ring. I'm really impressed by this. I did pretty much read this entire thing in the week that I got it. It's been about a week since I've had it. And just real quick, this is, to my knowledge, the third iteration of a tabletop role-playing game, for the Middle-earth setting. The first one, called MERP, Middle-earth Role-Playing Game, was not really Tolkien-esque, I don't think. It's very much a product of the 80s role-playing games, and a little too hack and slash. The other one that was done by Decipher that came out at the same time as the movies in the early 2000s was a lot better. This is perhaps even better. I really like that they don't use any of the movie material from The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. I'll show you here. All original artwork. Let me find a decent page. There's the character sheet, very cool looking. And they just did such a good job, I think, better than any of the other iterations, of capturing the look and the feel of Tolkien's world. It's a lot about the beauty and majesty and mystery of nature, and kind of the subtlety of magic. And it's just, just looking at the book, the pages look like they're parchment. The fonts that they use, the artistic style, the design, it's just absolutely perfect for the Middle-earth setting. And what I really like about the rules, it's very rules light. At first I thought it was a little more complex than it needed to be, but it's overall very rules light. And the rules all gear around storytelling. Many of your abilities are not statistical abilities like you would have in Dungeons & Dragons. You don't have as many modifiers and feats and all these capabilities. It's more about choosing different aspects of your character, different traits, and you get rewarded for role-playing your traits very well, and I really like that over the kind of hack and slash sort of game. For this also, I got the Lore Master screen supplement. It's pretty cool. You can hide behind this as the Lore Master, and so none of the players can see your rolls or your notes that would divulge any needful information. And then on the back you have like cool reference tables. And it also came with like a little Lake Town supplement for Lake Town in Middle-earth, some extra rules and things. And actually last night I ordered a couple more books. I think there are maybe 7 or 8 so that they've released, and then there's some new ones coming up like Rohan and a few others, different expansions with more character options and more rules. I'm really looking forward to that. So I just thought I'd nerd out a little bit about the One Ring Roleplaying Game. I'm getting my friends together and we're going to start a campaign here in a few weeks. Haven't made characters yet, but I'm looking forward to that. And if you guys are interested in that sort of thing, I can share dispatches from our role-playing games, our different sessions, if you would like. Again, I would encourage you, if you don't play role-playing games, to try, and if you do or haven't played in a while, keep going. There's really nothing in my experience that's so great for creative practice, and it doesn't really matter what kind of creative endeavor, whether you're a writer, you like to illustrate. I mean, I had a friend who was really great at drawing, and he would always draw his D&D character and the other characters in different scenes from our campaigns, and it just gave him this creative energy to, he actually had a subject to draw, and it made him practice, and he's gone on to become a very awesome artist because of that. I'll wrap this video up by asking you guys what kind of games you've played or interested in. You can let me know in the comments below. I'd be very interested. I'm sure we've probably played a lot of the same games. I've played probably 20 or 30 different role-playing games throughout my role-playing career over the last 20-odd years. So even if I haven't played the game that you like to play, I've probably heard of it and know a little bit about it, so I'd love to hear from you guys what you have played or what you're interested in playing. Don't forget to rate and share this video if you liked it, and subscribe to the Grauwelt channel. I'll talk to you guys next time.